And I hope you can hear me tonight. Okay, to start off with, if there's one thing I want to emphasize, there's a whole bunch of executables in the System32 folder. Go out, look at each one of them. If you don't do anything, there's so many things out there in the System32 folder that most people don't even realize have a clue what they actually do. So we're going to just start off with something fairly simple, God mode. Probably everybody's here has heard of it potentially, but it's really a very simple thing that you just add to your create a folder, and upon the creation of the folder, you get Okay, here we go. God mode, and it's basically every single administrative tools that you have. All the way down, back up, device, printers, everything in one handy dandy one-stop shop. Now, a lot of people forget that that's even available. It's really only Windows 10. There's sort of a God mode in some of the others, Windows 8, Windows 7, but not really. Windows 10 is the first one that really offers a full God mode. Now, there will be a PDF available as well, but all you have to really do is create a folder, plop that string in.
Try to speak up a little bit.
Okay. Put the put the context of the God mode into the properties of the folder and hit enter and you're done. That's basically it. So then, okay, we'll go back to the slideshow. That's basically another slide capture of it. Now, these are some of the general security use tools. Cypher, a lot of people forget that you can wipe the free space or an entire drive after you format it with the use of Cypher. I use it primarily just for generic wiping because it's a whole lot easier to wipe than, and it does DoD level wipes, and whether you're doing SSDs or disk type. Robocopy, we'll talk about that. PathPing and GetMac. GPR result. You may think it's only for with domain services, but you can use it for other little things to get property detail out. CertUtil and CertRec as well for Swiss Army knife if you do certs. Primarily if you're dealing with another certificate authority, but it does come in useful in other things. And then Tracer Report. I primarily will use Tracer Report to examine and compare event logs. So, Cypher is totally dependent upon writes and only NTFS, and it even works on home versions of Windows 7, Windows Vista, 8, whatever. Even if it's the personal or home, you can't encrypt, but you can decrypt BFS files if you have the cert, and more importantly, you can use it like this to do a Cypher/W and then put in the drive or folder, and it does a 3 times wipe of free space. No, it does not do slack space. And if you know what slack space is, I don't need to tell you, but it's at the end of every block of files there. It does not write to every single byte. So consequently, that is the slack space. Robocopy. I like Robocopy so much better than what Xcopy and all the various different. I still, there are other copy utilities available today, but what I really use it for is this string that you see down at the bottom is doing sort of robocopies to copy the Mac, modify, access, and change attributes. So consequently, robocopy from the target drive of F to a server backup with all of the attributes, copy all, and verify, and then retry, and then send the results to a results log. The whole purpose of that is so that I have something I can compare to the error. Otherwise, it's just going to output. There's other ways to do output, but this is the way I consistently do it. Now, it's target and source work if it's NTFS to NTFS. You can do exFAT, you can do FAT32, but it seems to take forever, and there's known issues with exFAT, FAT32 that not fully copy all the attributes, but it will try. GetMac PathPing. Now, GetMac is your basic, shows all the MAC addresses and you or other devices. What I like to do is that if you are using, sort of like any of the sysinternal tools, you can use it to display the local MAC devices on another device as the intended user that you're trying to authenticate against. So like if you do get mac/s 192.168.100-2, you'll get or a fully qualified domain name. It will provide it to you if you have existing authentication against it, or you can add strings to it to add the elements to authenticate it. Path ping is basically sort of like a mix of ping and trace route combined, and then it basically shows the hops, and you can do it, and it shows the duration as such. To me, it's so much better than either ping or trace route. Cert-util and cert-rec. Now, primarily if you're using a encryption or any type of public key type of process, you're going to need to learn how to use all the ins and outs of cert-util and cert-rec. Cert-rec, there's other things you can use out online to create the CSR, create the certificate signing request, or you can use other things. But more importantly, what I've ended up using cert-util for on a local device is to repair the certificate stores. Lots of times, people will come in and they will corrupt their certificate stores, or that there will be invalid CRILs, certificate revocation lists. You can import, you can also, I tried to create an example that I could do, but everything I did was blowing up on me, so sorry. What I'm going to try to do is that with this, with the request INF, you can create, if you have a device that does BitLocker or EFS, you can create a key-based string for that. It's the one thing that if you have a certificate authority that you're referencing, there's a recovery key. If you are using a professional version of Windows 10, Windows 7, Windows 8, or any of the others, it's going to create a self-signed cert on your own. But what you can do is you can get a trusted service provider of a cert, and you can convert it into a cert that is trusted, and you can then use it to export to create your PFX private key that's more fully trusted and shareable. Let's go back here. The main thing also is that with cert-util, if you are dealing with a Microsoft Certificate Authority, you can also use it to fix the certificate authority or update the certificate authority, start the certificate authority, stop the certificate authority, all the various different things to do with the certificate authority from your local device. GPR result, most people just think of it for ADFS and such, but what I like ADFS for is when I'm trying to inspect a device local, I will use it to show what is the various different groups are. So it will show things like last time group policy was updated, as well as the mandatory levels of the various different groups, as well as what the organization, the user, current user authenticated as. It will also show at the we go up, it will show things like the various different security groups and the functional elements of the device as well. So if it's a standalone domain member and what the version is. So it provides everything in a one-stop look, as well as the connection link. And as you can see, because it's local, it's only showing 500 kbps. If it was normal, it'd be showing to a domain server, it'd be showing like a 10 megabit or 100 megabit or 1 gig connection. Trace report, what I use it for primarily, and I tried to do this also to pull it up, is that with Windows 7 and Windows 8, you could use it to pull up the NT kernel logger and output it to the log CSV. And more importantly, what I use it for is you can compare two different ETLs and try to find comparison. If you're dealing with two different event logs and you're trying to track down where an intruder might have come in, you can look and run trace report to do the same identical thing as were before. And I rushed through it so long, and thanks for the fish. But the one thing, like I said at the very beginning, is look at System 32. I mean, when you look at it, there are, this is a handy dandy one that I just brought. This is my disposable. Come on. No, that's where I want to go. Yeah. Under System 32, you have, talk to myself. You have a tremendous number of executables that range from the mundane to the obvious to things that they never had before in Windows 7, like on this Windows 10 device. But you have also MSI files, you have MUIs, you can have the ability to do far more than you realize within your Windows device. And that's it. Thank you very much.